You're my sunshine in the rain. The summertime. Hey, every massive have come along. Go for your suntan in the summer.
Good morning, it's Tuesday and it's time for Teen Talk. I'm Yannick DaCosta and I hope you are ready for a riveting discussion on drug abuse, or let's just say substance abuse. We have Yakum Fitz-Henley from Arden's debate team. Joining us again, along with Daniel O'Sullivan of Campton College and Sydney Cook from the Pre-University School at the UA Mona campus. Now, guys, as teens, you should have a lot of experience in this area. I'm joking though. But let's first look at marijuana, weed, ganja. Is it widely used among teens, and why do you think this is?
Well, from knowledge, it is widely used in some areas.
In some areas?
Particularly Garrison, because of culture. So in that regard, yes, it's widespread in Jamaica.
What do you think, Sudani?
Well, I don't think it's as widely used as alcohol, because it's promoted at parties. When you go to parties, it's all-inclusive parties. You see the teens drinking cups and cups of drinks, and you wonder why, but it's there, so they're taking advantage of the privilege to just drink.
So do you think marijuana smoking is wrong?
Well, to each his own.
Yes, Yakum, you want to say something there?
Well, I think we have a culture of, I agree with Didoni in the fact that alcohol is more widespread than marijuana, but I believe that marijuana is smoked more among people who are at their home. They're just hanging out, but with alcohol you have greater advertisement of alcohol, because we have a culture of going to ATI teens, going to parties all over the summer, and alcohol is pushed upon them, not as much as marijuana is.
Alcohol is pushed up on them. Well, I wouldn't say so. I personally wouldn't think it's like forced upon them. Teens are genuinely curious. They really are genuinely curious. You know this. We're children. If we're told not to do something, I'm going to do it anyway, right?
That's true. And to answer the question, if marijuana smoking is wrong, as Sidani said, to each his own. However, you have to understand the culture of the child. Yes. For example, if a Rasta child, you know, is grown up in a home where smoking marijuana is a ritual.
But we have little Yakum here, and Yakum has never touched it a day in his life. He's 15. I'm wondering though, Yakum, is it a specific age that you're allowed to smoke marijuana for a religious purpose?
I'm not really certain, you know, but I know of the use of marijuana for religious purposes, just as Hindus use it and Rastafarians as well. However, I think that if you come to an age where you feel that you will definitely use it for a religious purpose and not just use it as an excuse to use marijuana, then it's quite fine.
So substance use becomes substance abuse, or as long as it doesn't become substance abuse. But really, at what point does substance use become substance abuse?
When you have a dependency on the substance itself.
Really?
So,
so what about persons that have diseases? For example, they're trying to legalize marijuana because of glaucoma.
Well, you know,
it's not the raw marijuana that you smoke every day. It's treated.
It's treated?
Yes.
Okay, so what makes it so different?
So if it's treated, maybe then if it was decriminalized, it would lose some of its hype, and therefore they could control the use of marijuana, therefore making it not as widespread and a problem.
I think so as well, because I was doing my research and I found that some European countries have actually decriminalized marijuana. And it's not a huge problem. There are actually decreased crime rates in some of these countries.
In the same light, Yannick, I know of countries who have taken a real hard view on drugs, and country too had a big drug problem just a few years back. For Singapore, for example, and they take a really hard stick to those who have drugs, and now they don't really have a bigger problem. So I think it all depends on the culture. I'm not really certain which approach, the carrot or the stick, would work in Jamaica.
Okay. So we're saying alcohol is more prevalent than marijuana. What about other drugs? Are other drugs present in Jamaica as well? I mean, I know some people are getting high off cough syrup. I'm serious. I am so serious, guys. These are things I hear about. There's cough syrup. There are prescription drugs. What are your views on these things?
Other drugs isn't as widespread as marijuana and alcohol. However, it's still present. The cough syrup and the whiteout, those substances.
Whiteout? That is, hold on, pause. That is new, whiteout?
Yeah, people get high.
How do you get high from whiteout?
You just smell it.
You just
Once
inhale
you smell it,
and
you get addicted to it. And
Really?
My parents told me not to smell whiteout when I was younger. I don't know.
Really?
But I heard from that one of the few that I know that are other than the mainstream drugs. But I think the fact that teens are going to move from mainstream drugs that have all this hype surrounding them to cough syrup and whiteout, I think it speaks to a deeper social problem of running from, I don't know what it is, the social problem in Jamaica, or is it running from?
It's possible that they might have problems expressing their emotions in a more productive or more constructive way. Is that it?
Well, using drugs usually stem from emotional problems or some problem of the sort. Drugs is a way to escape present problems. So they get a feeling of pleasure. It used to take away the bad feelings that they have.
Well, just as you said, though, and Yakum, it's a social problem, you say. So should parents make the extra effort, or the society on a whole make the extra effort to have activities and avenues in which teenagers can express themselves? Should they think about that a little bit more than they are now? Because, I mean, what do we do, guys? Really, what do we do these days? We go out, we party, we come home, we sleep, we eat, and we do it all again the next day.
Well, to say that, well, the public itself, in the media, there are a lot of ads saying no to drugs.
Drink responsibly.
You learn this in school, but we have to look on the influence of the peers. So knowing that drugs is wrong, yes, is one thing, but to have your friends influence, that's another thing. So coming from a home where my parents teach me, do not use drugs, and going to the school community where I'm at 5 days for the week, where a friend is just always nagging, come to the party, man, try the marijuana, you know, so we have to look on
peer pressure.
Peer pressure.
Peer pressure.
Precisely.
Is it cool? It's suddenly cool to drink and to fit in, basically. People just try to fit in. So on the topic of alcohol, binge drinking, bootleg alcohol, how familiar are you with these terms?
Well, not the bootleg, because I don't think it's happening in Jamaica. I just learned this morning that it's actually here.
Really?
Yes.
I think that's part of the problem because we're not aware of people doing this. The bootleg alcohol, I learned, was mixed in the more toxic methanol with the ethanol that we drink because it's cheaper. And I think I wasn't aware of it before doing this program, and that part of the problem I think we need to be more aware. I mean, you have the ad saying say no to drugs. I mean, I don't think these ads really appeal to teens. I think we need some advertising genius to maybe to come up with more appealing to ads and outreach to teens.
But think about it though. Think of it from the entertainment perspective, right? The entertainer's perspective. You're having an inclusive party. People pay $1,000 to $1,200 or sometimes $1,500 or so dollars to go into this party, and they drink free all night. Where does the money come from? It does not add up. The alcohol has to be cheaper for them to obtain in order for them to just give it away just like that.
Which is true. I have to admit myself, I didn't know about those terms until I did the research for the program, which is a problem, you know, because if you're not aware, you know, anything can happen. But at the same time, when teens go into party, they're not thinking about the dangers. They're thinking about going and having a good time.
True. And that's where binge drinking, I think, is the most prevalent, when teens at home aren't really exposed to alcohol. and they go out and they have a bit too much at any one occasion.
So
right?
know your limits when drinking, and remember 18 years and older. You know, because if teens stick to that rule, which most teens don't,
True.
you'll see that
This is very true.
most drugs problem will be minimized.
But what about how creative teens are these days? I mean, look at it. Besides the fact that they go from alcohol, regular drugs such as marijuana, they go to cough syrup, prescription drugs, actual rubbing alcohol, other things like that. I mean, look how creative they are in incorporating marijuana, for example, in everyday products. Weed brownies, cakes, pastries, pancakes, cookies, all these things, right? Look how creative we're being. And it's so sad, though. We're constructive, but in a different sense.
Yeah.
In a different sense. What is your take on the whole idea of weed butter?
They just have to find an avenue to get what they want, to let it look disguised as if they're not actually taking drug.
But do you think, on a whole, though, do you think the idea of substance use is, not substance abuse, substance use is wrong?
Well, no, because depending on context, people need, for example, medicinal purposes, people need substances to help to recuperate from an illness.
Yes.
So using substance is one thing, but when it goes to the extent of you have to have this to feel alive is another thing, because that's when, you know, the abuse come in, because you're getting addicted to the product. Because, as I say, I could probably try curiosity. Out of curiosity, I would go and try marijuana one time, and it's not for me.
Yes.
However, Sidani may go and try it, then she likes the feeling, so it's a, you know, a one, you know, everyday one. So,
yes.
right, I have to go get some marijuana today, which is the problem. So, the safest way is not to try, because you don't know how your body going to react to it.
Well, I'm going to say this. When it comes, I mean, you're going to try something, okay? But when it comes to the point where you are addicted, where you can't live without it, that's where it goes wrong.
Okay, well, anything you have to depend on really that much is really wrong. But I personally think that it's best to educate our teens, because you guys didn't know some of these things.
Well, which is true.
Yes, I think it's best to educate our teens rather than having us find out for ourselves. Well, thank you, guys. Thank you, Sidani,
welcome.
Yakum, and Daniel. It's always a great pleasure talking to you guys about these things. And I hope you guys go home and do more research.
We will.
Oh my gosh, regardless of how controversial they are, really. Don't forget to like our Facebook page, Teen Talk CVM, or follow us on Twitter at Teen Talk CVM. Have a great day, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Quando si fa l'amore sotto la luna, come te viene in capo di I love you.